I've not had a notification.
Hi everyone, it's been a couple of weeks since the last vocal point. I don't know about you guys, I've missed it, but life has been so busy. I hope that you are well and that somebody's going to join soon. Please. It's always really awkward when you first go live and you're waiting for people to join, because let me tell you, you don't know what to talk about. Ah, we've got people. Yay. I was just talking to myself then and I'm like,
Right, I've managed to duck down this other.
Right, bear with me a second, please. Can you turn that down, please? Sorry, Carl's here and he's sort of listening in as well. Just bear with me. Can you turn the volume down, please? You can hear me from here. Thanks. Sorry about that. Right. Yeah, Carl is with me at the moment. He's been an absolute star the past week, helping me out with a very poorly cat that's going in for a major operation tomorrow. But things we do for our animals. How is everybody? Ali O'Neill, hello. Doing well on Instagram. And if you haven't checked Ali out yet, you need to go and check it out. 6 p.m. on a Friday. Themed poetry. And keep an eye out on Instagram. Or Ali also posts in DPS. If you want to get tagged, just let me know and I'll let you know when Ali posts in group. Ahuva, hi sweetheart. Ahuva is one of our latest moderators to join us, doing a great job in Israel, which at the moment has got some issues. I hope you're okay, Ahuva. I really do, sweetheart. And of course, Carl. How can we forget Carl? Right, we've got a great night planned for you tonight. Some cracking rights. We've got lots of different features. And one thing that I will be doing tonight is something that I've not done before. And that is read a very harrowing true life event, which is part, or going to be part of the lady's book when she brings it out. I'll be reading Gabby Poetess later, but more on that later. Don't want to give too much away. So we've got 10 watching. Who else have we got? Christina Channing, hello. Caroline, hi Caroline. I hope you're well, sweetheart. Sher Chandley, hello. It's about time you sent one of your rights to VocalPoint as well. I'd love to read one of yours. VocalPointspoken at gmail.com, lowercase. And who else have we got? Oh, we've got a fair few. Mark Welford, hello. Mark's joining us tomorrow, the Dark Poetry Society admin team, and great writer. I'm sure he will do an absolutely sterling job. So look forward to welcoming you tomorrow to the team, Mark, and thanks for joining us. Jezza. That's Jerry Langdon. Don't think he much likes being called Jezza, do you? But yeah. And Jerry Langdon's featuring tonight. So without further ado, we've got Geoff Stockton to start with. Geoff sends me a lot of rights to read, and he's a very versatile writer. So this one is called Becoming a Poet. Geoff Stockton. I don't plan it. Anytime words come and shuffle, sometimes tease and provoke, and at the most inconvenient times. When I'm tired or falling asleep and too tired to pick up my pen, a poem forms itself through the hazy melting of my mind and body. But I have no choice but to leave it. I ponder over elusive words, the nagging, the frustration over rhythm and rhyme. I let it settle like cloudy sediment in a jam jar. I wait. Sometimes exhausted, occasionally animated, but more often than not, the sediment doesn't clear, and I never know quite what I'm going to write. That was Becoming a Poet by Geoff Stockton, and you've probably seen him in group. He does post 2-3 times a day, And he is extremely versatile in what he writes himself. So obviously there he's saying, you know, words come into my head and sometimes I don't know how to deal with it, you know, because a bit like our Carl, you know, he can spout off a poem in 3 minutes. I'm sure if I brought him on camera now and said, write about the vase on the windowsill, he probably could. Won't put it past him. He's here with me now. So what did everybody think about Geoff's write? I thought it was a really good write. I'm not a poet myself, and I don't profess to be at all, never have, but sometimes when I have to write, I have to bloody write. There and then, it doesn't matter where I am. So I've always got a pen, and I've always got paper around, just in case. But it doesn't happen often enough, unfortunately. I'd much rather do this. Caroline, Ali O'Neill, Jerry Langdon. Who else have we got? Nalini, hi, I spotted you earlier. I hope you're well, sweetheart. Please send your writes, vocalpointspoken@gmail.com. Because at the moment they're full of Geoffs. Not joking either. No offence, Geoff. So, with the next writer that we've got is Matty Blades. Very well known, very lovable, very popular guy. Does a lot of spoken. And he's really come on. Matty's probably been a moderator in the group now for, oh God, 2-3 years. He's been through all the changes that happen when you're in a group. You know, moderators unfortunately do come and go. But he's, you know, stuck with us, and he's always been a good poet, but my God, he's evolved. And the next one by Matty is quite a dark write. It is a dark night tonight, to be honest. They're all dark rights. Is Seema, hey Seema. Nice to see you, and thanks for joining. So the next write is Matty Blades. I'm not sure about the title. Let the worms eat my brains. Sitting here right now, I just want to fade away. Drift off into nothingness where my soul no longer plays. I know I won't feel like this every single day, but the struggle comes upon me more times than I can say. Just let me fall asleep, not a peep or a sound. Then bury me 6 feet under, where the worms can eat my brains. Let my soul drift, no memory of this life. For all the good it's given me much more than strife. The loss of all my loved ones, my friends have come and gone. After every corner that I've turned, the signpost is always wrong. A blockage of my mind, of my life, is just a crime. How many more struggles does my soul have to find? Addiction took the best of me. Homelessness broke me down. And even with the roar of a lion, I was never to wear that crown. Quite a sad write, that, isn't it? What's everybody's thoughts on that? I mean, initially, I thought maybe it was semi-suicidal. But I think it's more than that. It's about being hit by different things in life which just knock you back. And there are so many people that I know that are going through so much stuff at the minute. It's unbelievable. 2021's not been the best year for me so far either, but you know, you've just got to pick yourself up and crack on with it, don't you? Gabby, you're right. Matty, he is a sweetie and he's brilliant poetry. Oh, thanks, Gabby. I don't know if I look lovely, but I made a bit of an effort. Chris, hey. And you're right, Caroline. Yeah, very powerful words. Extremely powerful words, actually. What does everybody think that was about? Are you all familiar with Matty's work? I would imagine you would be, because he does post, I'd probably say, every other day. And he's just an all-round decent bloke and a really good poet. Anyway, moving on, I would like to give a bit of a shout out to some of our new moderators: Chris, Sasa, Ahuva Poetry, Seema Sharma, 3 ladies that are on here now. They've joined us in the past week or so and they are rocking it. They are leaving fabulous comments. They are just enjoying what they're doing. And that's what it's about. That's what this group's about. The talent that we've got is just amazing. And we're very humbled by it. Very, very humbled by it. So thanks, ladies. And to the rest of our moderators as well. You know, this group's not going to run without you guys. And we know that things change, people come, people go, but you're doing a great job. Thank you from both Carl and I. We'll support you as much as we can as you support us. Okay. There is phenomenal talent in the group, Ali, you're right. And we've been secret now and private. Oof. How long, what, Carl? 3-4 months?
Yeah, about that.
About 3 or 4 months. So, and I think that that's the way to go. We have to understand that some poets are introverts, some are extrovert. All creatives are, dare I say, a little eccentric, sometimes off the cuff. And I think it's working that people like that the group is secret and private. Some poets don't want the families to know that they write dark, and that's understandable. So that's the way forward. We may open in a month or so to let some fresh pens bleed. But apart from that, we're staying as we are. Andrew Jonathan Daniels, thanks for joining. Gabby. Oh, yeah, you're right. Gabby's saying, I can't imagine how much strength you need to survive and endure, which Matty did. And keep being such a beautiful human being. Yeah, Matty's been through a hell of a lot. A hell of a lot. And as you will find out later when I read something that has come from the heart from one of our poets, you'll understand what I mean. Adam Wilson, hello, mister. How are you doing? Good to see you. Right, okay. So the next one I'm going to read, you will all know her. Wow. I mean, you don't know what to say to a poetry. This lady doesn't need to tag anyone into a poetry. It gets 20, 30 plus likes and comments. And it's Jen Banks. Are you all familiar with Jen? Hello, Andrew Jonathan Daniels. I did say hello before. So Jen Banks, The Method. That's the one I'm going to read next. Jen's featured in lots of different publications, including our own, the Dark Poetry e-zine, Inspired, Compositor, numerous. And here's a really, really good write. And I said to Jen, I said, you know, can you tell us a little bit about what it's about? And I think it's good to sort of give a short quote unquote from the poet, the author themselves, so that we get an insight into them. It makes it a little bit more interesting, I think. Let me know your thoughts. So it's called The Method, and Jen said it's about deliberately switching off our emotional responses in order to deal with stress caused by events beyond our control. Not necessarily the healthiest approach, but sometimes a necessary coping mechanism. So, here we go. Jen Banks, The Method. I refuse to remain depressed. I choose a facsimile of happiness. How, you whisper. How, you ask. It's a trick. It's an art. It's a trip down a path, often twisted and dark, I admit. Still, for the most part, it allows me to breathe through the noose round my neck. But how, you whisper. How, you ask. Desperate to be rid of the stone in your chest. The first step in the method is loosen the rope Exist in the moment. Eviscerate hope. Medicate if necessary. Use any mechanism at your disposal to cope. Convince yourself you survived the train wreck. Pretend you're alive. Despite evidence, you're already dead. Brilliant. Yeah, it's a good write. It's a great write, Carl. Yeah, you're right, Jerry. Jen needs to publish. She really does. It's a fantastic write, really is. And a lot of Jen's stuff has some very deep hidden messages. I've got to be honest, I don't always get them. I don't. You know, I mean, well above average intelligence, I don't always get them, but, you know, to each reader, they're going to have their own version of what they're reading. Does everybody agree with that? You know? Do you read something and see something totally different from what other people have commented? I do. Yeah, it was an amazing write, Chris. You're quite right. And yeah, fabulous, Jen, says Carol. Ali, Jen, you are an incredible poet. Jen, as you all know, or you may not know actually, is in Australia. So it's not the right time zone for her to be here. And time zones are a pain in the backside, let's face it. But especially when it comes to having a team. We've got India rocking it at the moment. We really do. And we've got people on our team from all over the world. So it's works out pretty well. Yeah, you're right, Ali. I think, you know, if one person reads a poem, Jen, you just missed it. I just read it. Oh, bloody hell. I'll tell you what, Jen, I'll do it again after the next one. If that's okay with everybody else. I don't like the poets to miss their read, if you like. And it's great that they're here supporting me, reading their work. It's a two-way process. Okay, well, the next lady you may have seen around group, and it's either extreme erotica or it's dark. However, this one, a little dark, but the metaphor throughout I think is brilliant. The lady's called Yvonne White. Cardboard box. Break me down like a cardboard box. Fold along the creases, the scars, the hard knocks. Bend me at the bruises where the promises made were just lies. Then tear away the labels of happy while staring me in the eyes. Shove me into the corner where all the other garbage goes. Tie me up in a bag with your takeout. Don't worry, I already know. I was never made to be wanted. I was always made to be used up. I was never made to be loved. I was always here to get messed up. So break me down, folded along all my scars, then throw me out with the rest. It's okay. I know it's not very hard. Break me down like the emptiness I am. Take me to the curb outside. You don't have to give a damn. I'm used to standing outside in the cold, waiting for someone else to pick through my pieces. It's okay. It's always been this way. I'm used to the hurt. This is the way it is. I was never made to be held. I was always made to let go. I was never made to be hoped for. I was always broken, so just break me down. Folded along the lines of my pain, then walk away, please, without another word. Just forget my name. Who would have thought a cardboard box would be such an amazing metaphor. It's it's a bit mad, really, isn't it? But what a bloody good write. Whoa, we've got a serious storm going on here. That is not my stomach. It might not be too long before it is. So, what's everybody thinking about that particular write? Oh, it is an excellent write, Ron. Michael DeLarke, I noticed you earlier. Hi, thanks for joining us. Mike will be featured as Poet of the Week very soon in group. He's also come on a very long journey and evolved. There's a lot of people that joined Dark Poetry Society years ago, and it's good to see them still around and turn from great poets into bloody amazing poets. I'm not saying that because they're in Dark Poetry Society that's what's done it, but I think the nurturing that we have in group and the community feel that we have works. Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate that. Andrew says impeccable write and read. It was an amazing write, and I connected with it like that. Well, the next one we have is from the Dark Meister himself, Jerry Langdon, a very good friend. And again, Jerry, a big thank you for editing, formatting, pulling together all of your writes in our monthly e-zine, which third edition will be out 28th, 29th of May-ish. Submissions are open. Now, yes, we have a themed event, hexes and X's, but that doesn't mean that you cannot send any write that you want to in. We're not saying it has to be based on that. Please take that on board and get your writes in if you want to be featured in this month's. Hi, Geoff. I hope you're well. Unfortunately, you missed your you missed yours as well. I think Jen said that she'll catch it up later, so that's cool. But without further ado, an amazing writer, 5 books, self-published, Jerry Langdon. He runs Raven Cage. Check Raven Cage magazine out too. Brilliant. He pulls together the DPS one, and it takes him forever. So we all owe him a big thanks. Right, I'm just looking at the comments. So without further ado, Jerry Langdon, I still lucidly dream of you from the grave. My black heart weeps and tries to save the memory of you dancing in the moonlight, of your silhouette leaning against the night. And I still love you, even in death. And I still have you on my last breath. A phantom of a dream that was once reality. I crawl up, holding a ghostly thought close to me. I let your name linger in my black heart. Anguishing longing wants to tear it apart. I still lucidly dream of you from the grave. My black heart weeps and tries to save the memory of you strolling under summer sun, of your shadow chasing mine on the run. And I still love you from this dark bed, and I still can't get you out of my head. Now, I didn't ask Jerry really what this was about. I mean, obviously it's about, I think, is it obsessive love, Jerry? What, are you still here, Jerry? Can you maybe throw some light on it? I'm not sure. It's a little dark, but Jerry generally, and you won't mind me saying this, does write dark, very dark. Yeah, it was a good one to read that. And we've got a couple more of shortish ones, and then we've got the grand finale. Oh, Gabby is amazed by Jerry and the depths of his darkness. Yeah, Jerry's a great writer. Absolutely brilliant. I got you. Yeah, I got you, Jerry. Jerry said about loving into death and thereafter. Yeah. The Dark Meister. Ron Conway. I've spotted you, mister. About time you sent me some right. You know I love reading for you. Gurjit Kaur Guman, thank you for joining. I'm sorry if I pronounce your name incorrectly, but at least I tried. That's all you can do. Okay. Is everybody familiar with Chadwick Lewis? Excuse me. His book is out, I think, 24th of June. The Remnants of the Disenchanted. I, for one, will be buying it. I'm a big fan. A big fan. This one's called Soil by Chadwick Lewis. Darkened skies all around, the blood of the dead is upon the ground. The voices of youth, filthy and defiled, the noose that won't give, the sickened smiles. The lies of the just, the driven, the mad, the dismembered, hopes now rotting in backs. The lust-driven killer, the father, the whore, the unanswered questions with no keys to the door. The falling of beauty, the death of a dream. The blood-soaked sheets where innocence was clean. The high that you need, the needle I miss. The smell of it all where death looms quick. The presence of decay, her smile, her kiss, her promise of illusion, her gift for the sick. An end that is certain, broken bones, dirty tricks. Crimson honey puddles holding memories and remiss. The path unseen for souls was sold, where fate now waits at the bottom of the cold. Wow. Crimson honey puddles. Amazing. Love that. At the bottom of the cold. At the bottom of the cold. The cold's bad enough, but the bottom of the cold? What a writer. Andrew Jonathan Daniels, interesting point. I don't know if you can all see this. Just want to apologise for my rhyming poetry. Can't seem to write it any other way, but have tried, honest. This poem is also out of this world, darkly and deeply. That's an amazing compliment for Chad. But let's have a look at what Andrew's just said. Does poetry need to rhyme? Is it an issue if it all rhymes? I don't write often, Andrew, but when I do write, rhyme is how I work and what I feel and how I write. You know, so I don't think there's any, what works for you. So I wouldn't apologise for rhyming poetry. Not at all. Why should you? You are unique in yourself. And yeah, as Ali says, and you are a great poet. You are. Yeah, Carol Ann rhymes. Michael Delarkey. You know, Michael Delarkey rhymes. Jerry rhymes, but not all the time. It's how you feel. It's your pen, it's your mind, it's your experiences, it's your imagination. And if we all rhymed, it'd be a boring world. If we all did prose or, you know, free poetry, whatever you call it. You know, no, Andrew, there's no need to apologise whatsoever. Yes, you are your own worst critic. Now get over it and move on. There's nothing wrong with your work. And I meant that in a nice way. It came out a bit wrong. Chadwick, yeah, great poem. Michael, you rhyme quite a lot, don't you? Jerry does generally as well. It doesn't matter. You write how you want to write. If we were all the same, it wouldn't work, would it? Which brings me nicely, actually, to the next poet, because I think he's a great writer. He writes 6 to 8 lines in total. But in that 6 to 8 lines, he says so much. So again, does it need to be 5, 6, 7, 8, 9 stanzas? If that's what you want to write, write it. Have you read some of Carl's? It's like episode 12.
War and Peace.
He's laughing at me. But, you know, so I'm talking about James K. Blaylock. I've got to be honest, when I first read James, I wasn't really connecting, but now when he sends it over to me, it's like he says so much, as you'll see in this one shortly. Oh, yeah, you're right. Jenny, hi Jenny. Jenny summed it up in one sentence. We all have our own rhythm. Totally 100% agreed. There's no right and there's no wrong. It's just so sad that poetry is not as recognised as it should be. And that's what we try to do in dark poetry. Okay, James K. Blaylock, None Such. There is none such other than a mother. She is without equal, so very essential. Without her, none of us would even be here. Meaning, she should be honoured all year. Wherever they are today, give them their flowers. How beautiful is that? You're right, Jerry. James can tell a life story in 6 lines or less. He just did. He's saying that why should we just have Mother's Day once a year when, you know, this is the woman that's given birth to us and given us life. You know, she should be honoured all year. And wherever they are, doesn't matter. If they've passed, come visit, leave some flowers. If they're around, go round. It doesn't have to say it with flowers. I know. My mum was very seriously ill a couple of months ago. And realistically, it's only hit home that we could have lost her. We didn't. And she's coming out the other side. Give your mums a hug, yeah? I think it's a really important message from James. Oh, Martin Gedge, yeah, Martin, hi. I am so sorry, I didn't realise you were here. Martin Gedge rhymes a lot. And Martin says, I rhyme a lot, and it does not to make me any difference as to your choice is expression. So what he's saying is he rhymes a lot, and that's the way he wants to do it. You should check out Martin. Amazing writer. Again, does a lot of dark stuff, but he's quite versatile. The Dark Poetry Society is not going to tell you how to write. You write how you want to write. It's what makes you a poet in your own right. Excuse the pun. Anyway, I just really want to talk a little bit about the e-zine. Hexes and X's, this month's theme. And I can't stress enough, there's a lot of people that are saying, well, I've not really got a right to fit that theme. If you've not got a right to fit that theme, doesn't matter. Send your rights in. Yeah? ravencage@gmail.com. Subject header, DPS. You've also got Raven Cage that you can submit to, Jerry's own group. And Raven Cage itself is like, well, he's like our big brother, really. You know? So check Raven Cage out as a group. If you want to be added, PM me. I can add you, no problem. Or just join. Well worth a look at. Prunella Nadler, hello. Prunella is another lady that I hope you won't mind me saying. Prunella has really come out of a shell. And it's amazing to see. Don't stop. Because without you guys writing prose, rhyming, doesn't matter. Get it in. Because without you, we've not got a group. End of. Jerry's just saying Raven Cage has got mental health awareness, this issue. And I think that that is a very, very important subject. So if you've got anything that you want to write about in regards to mental health, then send it in to ravencage@gmail.com. Yeah? We need your support. I mean, I don't know what else we can do as a group. And I know I'm banging on a bit, but I'm not going to stop. We do promotional spotlight. We do spoken spotlight. We do poet of the week. This, our own easing. Potentially in the future, there may be a website. There may be anthologies. That's not written in stone, and that's not a said is done. But when we do something in Dark Poetry Society, we do it right. I think that's important. Brilliant, Andrew. I love that. Submissions, admissions, petitions, and that glistens. Okay, right. Sorry, I just need. Yeah, just having a cheeky cider, Scrumpy Jack. Very nice. Before we go into the final right, we're talking about somebody's life here. We're talking about a regime that this lady lived through. I do have to say, and I have to give a trigger warning. There is some profanity, although not of a serious nature. And the subject matter does include physical child abuse, but not to the extreme. I am not going to read what a poet sends to me, asks me to read, or I ask to read. Because this is about them. Now, this is quite harrowing. Yeah, I need a slug. I may get upset, as you know. I do get quite emotional because I do this because I absolutely love doing it, not for any other reason. Okay. Gabby H, aka Gabby Poetess, a Romanian lady, grew up in Romania. There are two parts to this, and here goes. In Gabby's words, and I hope I give it the emotion that it needs. This one's for you, Gabby. This is part of a book I have been working on since last year. It is still very difficult for me to share these stories, but I've decided that I must do it. After all, I want to publish this book. Dark Poetry Society will be the only place I post it. Every story has a beginning. I'm not sure about mine, but I have to start somewhere. Part 1. A child's memories about communism. There is a lot to be said about life before 1989, about the communist regime in Romania. In his madness and paranoia, Ceausescu had this crazy idea to make Romania a rich and respected country, as it was before the Second World War, when Timișoara was called Little Venice and Bucharest was recognised as Little Paris. He tried to do this all at any cost. Even if this meant that Romanians lived in severe poverty, with empty store shelves, with endless queues at shop doors when they were stocked. Bread, milk, butter, oil and meat were rationed. After 1980, things got much worse. Even electricity, gas, hot water and heat were streamlined. It was during this time I was with my parents. It was the winter of 1983. I was just 8 years old. I remember it as if it was yesterday. One of my few memories of those 3 years. A little town called Harlau in Lassi County, in the eastern part of Romania. Moldova, the most damned part of the country, for poverty and shortcomings. In his madness, Ceausescu takes revenge on that part of the country in particular. We were 6 people in a 3-roomed apartment. My parents, my elder sister and brother, my younger brother and I. The living room could not be used in winter. We had a terracotta stove in the bathroom for heat in the apartment, which, on ration, was only a few hours a day. We couldn't afford to heat all the apartment, so in the winter we didn't use the living room. That left us 2 rooms. The bathroom was large and always cold. We only had 2 hours of hot water on Friday evenings every week. Small towns were the hardest hit. Austerity was apparent. For 2 hours we had to bathe 6 people. And my mother also had to do all the washing. She used the hot water on Fridays to save electricity. She had a washing machine from years ago which had to heat the water for the laundry to be washed well. Catalin and I were taking a bath together. He was 7 years old, a year and a week younger than me. My mother told us we had an allotted time, around 15 minutes. I don't remember exactly. We usually listened to her. We hated how she screamed at us if we didn't, but I hated especially how she used to beat Catalin. She wasn't beating me, I can remember, but Catalin, oh God. She beat him wildly, without mercy. Everyone beat him, especially Dad, always Mum. Sorin was angry every time he took a beating from my father, and Alina, I don't know why, but that's how things were. That day, we were disobedient. We forgot to fill the washing machine with water. We played as kids. Water was everywhere in the bathroom, and we forgot to get out of the bathroom in time. I remember my mother coming into the bathroom. Sorry. Catalin put his hands on his head, as usual when she screamed. I think that annoyed her more, that her son was so scared of her. And as usual, the inevitable happened. It was like watching the same horror movie, morning, noon and night, every day. She started hitting him over the head. His palms raised in defence. Catalin started to cry, to scream. She told him not to scream, in case the neighbours heard, yet she screamed louder at him, humiliating, murderous words. And at one point she hit his head on the wall. I got off in the water, trying to get between her and Catalin. The bath was more than half full of water when she started hitting me too. I stood in the water with my head between my knees and my hands over my head. I slipped and fell in the water. I only remember the water flooding, my face, my hair full of water. I could hear my heart beat and the screams of my mother and Catalin. Then I felt water flooding my mouth. Then I don't remember anything. The next day, Saturday, Mum and Dad went to a wedding. Alina and Sorin were looking after me and Catalin. I remember that I started to feel like I couldn't breathe. I went out on the balcony, screaming, feeling like I was suffocating. My screams turned to tears. I felt I couldn't breathe for what seemed like hours. Alina kept saying to me to breathe, trying, I guess, to calm me down. Oh, sorry, that's the first part, guys. These are not crocodile tears. I do get very upset by what I read. I feel the emotion. Oh God, Gabby. Look what you've done. we got part 2 yet. Are you ready for part 2? Okay. The story of my mental health. Depression, anxiety, panic attacks, guilt, so much fucking guilt. The inability to adapt, to love, to fight for myself or trust myself. Loneliness, so fucking much loneliness. The feeling that you do not belong. That you are not enough, not worthy. That you are defective, broken, a waste. I will tell you the story of my mental health. Stories about mental health in a regime that killed millions of souls and broke the mind of too many generations of Romanians. How and when did it all start for me? I can't answer you. I'm not sure. I've been missing many memories since I was a child, but I remember the first panic attack. I was around 8 years old and I felt like I was dying for the first time, but I didn't die. It was just the beginning of what was really going to kill me. I was born in Romania in November 1975. The third child of 4. My father loved music, poetry, his first 3 children, and wine. He adored my mother, but not himself too much. That's why maybe around the age of 30, he started to love wine more than anything. So much so, he had no love left for anything else. My mother, a very beautiful woman, eager to be loved, so much so. Above all, she loved herself. Then she loved her first 2 children. Sometimes, she had a few crumbs of love left for me. Almost nothing left for my younger brother. At 30, she found love for another man. I have no way of knowing if my father started loving wine so much because my mother loved another man, or the fact my mother fell in love with another man because my father loved wine so much. What I know is that they were stuck in this sick relationship, that it killed our childhood and our spirits of being children. My father's addiction to wine, his violence, anger, hatred, and occasionally other women. My mother's relationship with that man, her selfishness, hatred, anger, and occasionally other men. Romania was a communist country in the 1970s. Abortions were punishable by imprisonment. I came from a generation of unwanted children. Emancipation had reached our country with difficulty, but the the ideas, the doctrine of communism killed millions of Romanians. Most women wanted 1 or 2 children. Life was very hard and expensive. A 3rd and 4th child were not desired. They could not be aborted and could not be abandoned in the orphanages as they were full. The system found you, took you away. From your family, you became a disgrace, a pariah of society. We were named the little decrees. According to the law, the decree forbidding abortion, the little decrees. But somehow, mothers learned to love their unwanted children. So sad, but not my mother. And she took care to remind me and my younger brother of this whenever she had the chance, when we were disobedient or just being children. My father hated my younger brother. He thought he was the other man's son. From a very young age, he humiliated my brother and beat him wildly, a few times that he almost killed him. He also beat my mother animalistically, extraordinary. He used to rape her regularly. These things were happening before our eyes. Us, the 4 children. Their children. So we became broken, numb, paralysed, condemned. That's partly how I started having panic attacks. Nobody cared. Nobody talked about it. Communism does not accept depression or any other mental health issues. These people were marginalised, hidden, imprisoned in more terrible places than prisons. Families became doomed. Sorry. Often, when I had panic attacks, my mother would scream at me to calm down and stop playing theatre. Several times she slapped me on the mouth or the face. She forced me to shut my mouth and told me to learn to control myself. That's how I learned to hide, to isolate myself. That's how the blue child was born, a broken, lonely child. My parents eventually abandoned me, left me with my grandparents, another prison, an uncle who abused me. A home? No, not. Definitely not. That's it. Wow. Yeah. Panda eyes. I don't care. Gabby. Jesus Christ, lady. Thank you, Gabby. And this is why I do it. Thank you. But it's, you know, I need you all to understand that I do this for poetry. It's not about me. I like being a voice for you guys, and I do get emotional, and I'm not going to apologise for it. That was heart-wrenching. And Gabby, I'm so pleased that it spoke to you. I don't know what else to say, really. I think Gabby and I are going to talk more about maybe the next 2 parts, and I'm happy to do that. But when you see my raw emotion, that happens naturally. It's just who I am. Oh, Alice says, oh, Gabby, you are so brave. Thank you for sharing such a candid and honest account. You're incredibly strong and an example of love after evil and abuse. Oh, thanks, Sally. So yeah, we've had a bit of a tearjerker tonight, haven't we? Thank you, Gurjeet. Gabby, you come out the other side, and you're an amazing woman. So at the end of the day, you know, it was. Okay, so, oh God, I'm not putting makeup on next time. Not when I'm reading for you, Gabby. I dread to think. Anyway, it is what it is. When you're live, no filtering here. So, okay. So number one, please, Carol Ann, Ali, Andrew, Gabby, and everybody else who's been watching. Thank you. Please get any rights you would like me to consider to vocalpointspoken at gmail.com, lowercase. Get your submissions into the e-zine. And thank you so much for your support, guys. And I'm sorry it's fortnightly. It will continue to be fortnightly at the moment until stuff here gets a little better. I've got a poorly cat going in tomorrow for major abdominal surgery and I'm worried sick. But we've all got our issues and you just have to get on with it, don't you? Thank you, Andrew. I appreciate that. So, if there is anything... Michael Delarkey, you're dead, mate. Michael says, love the show, says Pornhub Mike. Oh, God. Yeah, I read a really, really raunchy read for Michael Delarkey once. Let me tell you, it's proper raunchy. No holes barred. So that's what he's referring to. I don't care if it's erotic. If it's a life story, send it to me. Let me bring it to life. Yeah. Gabby, that just makes... I'm just... That's all I needed. That was just brilliant. Thank you so much. Right, I'm going to love you and leave you guys. I've got a hungry Carl. And thank you, Caroline. I love my boy. He's got kidney stones, so they've got to remove him. Quite involved. Thank you, Chris. And thank you for everybody. It means a hell of a lot that you're tuning in. Tell your mates. Get your rights over. Now you've seen what I can do. Challenge me. I challenge you to challenge me. What more can I say? Thanks, guys. I'll speak to you soon. 2 weeks today. So what we on? 11th today.
Yep.
So 11, 14, 25th of April. We will be going weekly again as soon as my crappy personal life sorts itself out. All right. You take care, guys. And thank you so, so much. Thank you. Good night.